Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first Coffee with a Purpose of 2022, Changemakers, Empowering Youth Through Civic Engagement. My name is Molly Waller, and I'm the Executive Director for Youth Solutions, the nonprofit inspiring and connecting youth to achieve a future beyond imagination. Today, I am very honored to be joined by our co-moderator, Jack Schmidt, Vice President of Advocacy at the Impact Project, and our three outstanding Jobs for Michigan's Graduates panelists, Jairo Lopez, Taja Covington, and Christian Dunn. We will hear a lot from the panelists in just a moment. Today's event is part of Careers in Public Service Month, which provides opportunities for our young adults to learn about a wide range of career paths in the public sector. It leads up to our legislative days, where the JMG youth meet with their elected officials in Lansing to share their stories and talk about the impact that Jobs for Michigan's Graduates has had on their life. I am thrilled to have Jack Schmidt as my co-moderator to share some of his experiences, both in the public and the private sector, and to help me lead a conversation with our youth about the importance of civic engagement. At the Impact Project, which is a multi-state project that gives everyone a chance to succeed in our economy and participate in our democracy, Jack is the VP of Advocacy. He has an extensive background working with government on election campaigns, as well as designing and implementing programs that promote civic engagement. We are excited to have his wealth of knowledge and help lead our discussion. Welcome, Jack, and thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Molly. It's great to be here and great to have an opportunity to engage with all of you in a discussion around civic engagement and how civic engagement can make change and transform our communities. In today's conversation, the youth panelists will share their perspectives on relevant social and political topics, noting the power of civic engagement in promoting change. I would like to introduce our esteemed JMG panelists, starting with Jairo Lopez, a sophomore from Hartford High School, Taja Covington, a senior also from Hartford High School, Christian Dunn, JMG alumnus from Oxford, Michigan, currently attending the University of Michigan, Flint. Thank you all for being here. You have over 70 attendees joining today who are eager to listen and learn from you. We appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Jack. We look forward to hearing your story as well later on in the discussion. One important note is to comment that Youth Solutions is a nonpartisan organization. Coffee with a Purpose is intended to raise our youth voice on the value they see in civic engagement, but it is not connected in any way to any political position. So with that housekeeping aside, one more housekeeping. Audience members who wish to ask a question, please use the chat function. We have staff monitoring it, and we have reserved time at the end to make sure that we get to as many of your questions as possible. If we run out of time, we will follow up with answers to questions after the event. Hopefully everyone has a freshly brewed cup of coffee or tea or smoothie. Let's meet the panelists. Jairo, we'll start with you. Jairo, last time I'm going to goof it, I promise. Jairo, we'll start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name is Jairo Lopez. I am a sophomore at Hartford High School. I am class president for Spanish Club, and a representative for the JMG Career Association. I am a student athlete. I play cross country and track. In the future, I hope to become a travel nurse.
Wonderful, wonderful profession. All right, Taja.
Hello, my name is Taja Covington. I am a senior at Hartford High School. I am the vice president in our career association here at JMG. I've been in JMG for 3 years, on and off. And sports, I played football this year, and my career goal is to become a real estate agent. So that's me. And I'm also Mr. Hartford. So.
You're Mr. Hartford. That's awesome. Well,
Yes,
real estate's a hot topic right now. All right, Christian.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Christian Dunn. I am studying social studies, teacher certificate program, and a minor in political science at the University of Michigan Flint. I'm also serving as a senator on the student government. I'm originally from Oxford, and I'm excited for today.
Thank you all for introducing yourselves. Let's get into a little bit of conversation around civic engagement. The term civic engagement means different things to different people, and maybe we just start there. How do you define civic engagement? And Christian, maybe I'll turn it to you first.
So I define civil engagement as people like you and me who promote positive change in a community where we work to improve life.
Taja?
To piggyback off what Christian said, it's like civic engagement is a group or people or a collective group getting together to talk about or fix issues in their surrounding communities that they would like to see a change in.
Hyra, what do you think?
I think civil engagement is being able to change your community and being educated on what's going on in your community and outside of your community. I think civil engagement is being able to go in a positive way and to change what's going on in your community.
Yeah. Why does it matter? Christian, what do you think?
It matters because for my generation, especially, we are the future. So we need to do whatever we have to kind of support our communities and kind of build a network as much as we can.
Yeah. Taja, I understand. Well, you shared that you were recently crowned Mr. Hartford. Really curious to learn a little bit more about that. What are your community responsibilities?
Yes, I was recently crowned Mr. Hartford 2022. So my responsibilities within my community is being a positive role model for children or even adults in that matter. So what I do is I go to all the social events here in Hartford or outside of Hartford, just getting to know my surrounding communities. We have pageants all over, and we are currently waiting on Miss Heart and Spirit pageant, and we're getting ready for Blossom Time, and that is held in St. Joe. So yeah, that's my responsibilities as Mr. Hartford.
Yeah. Christian, how are you engaged in your community? In what ways?
So I currently serve as a senator on the student government for the University of Michigan Flint. I try to improve students' lives as much as possible by promoting healthy change and putting in place programs and projects that can help students that are new or who need a little more support than others.
How long, Christian, have you been on the Senate?
So this is my first semester here at the university. So I have been on the Senate for almost a month now.
And how long is your term? Do you serve for just a year or a semester? Or?
So I started a bit late. So we actually have elections coming up. They're on a year basis. So the next election is at the end of February.
Great. And you kind of touched on some broad topics here, but if there was one thing in your current term that you would hope to accomplish, what would that be?
So I am working like with first generation college students and transfer students specifically because we need a bit more support. And I am a transfer student and a first generation college student, so I know kind of how it is to be in that position. So I'm kind of like right now I'm working on a project that will put together resources and kind of a booklet for those students specifically that can help them and guide them through their first year of college.
Wow, that's really cool. Going out to each of the panelists, what are some of the challenges that are facing your community today. And Taija, maybe we'll go to you first and then Jairo, talk a little bit about Hartford.
Challenges here in my community is the lack of access, whether that be internet, transportation, or jobs. So the world is evolving in my sense, and I feel like people are being held back because we don't have so much access. And so even with school or work, everything is based on the internet. That means like homework is on internet, job applications are on internet. You rarely get a job application that's on paper and pencil anymore. And with areas, there are areas in our community where internet access just isn't available, and I'm trying to see if we can change that.
Jairo?
Things that are really challenging my community are people that struggle with addiction. I know a lot of people in my community that do struggle with addiction, and within my community, there isn't really like a place for them to get help. So I think that's something that that we really struggle with, because mostly some people just choose to not talk about the issue or to not even help the issue because it's easier for them. But I think that helping people that struggle with addiction can really help them in a positive way. And to piggyback off what Taija said, I think transportation is a huge thing. Here in my town, we don't have like a public transportation, and I think that's something that we do need. A lot of people don't have that type of transportation to get to work or to get to places that really need to. So I think that's something that we really do struggle with. And another thing would be like the homeless population here. And there's usually like a homeless guy here that in town, and he really doesn't have anywhere to like stay or to go. So I think like us having like a homeless shelter or just even a place for him to stay is something that we really do need, especially now with the winter, since it does get cold. And I just think it's something that we really do need.
Christian, you touched on a couple of the challenges at least you're facing on the Senate, but want to give you a chance to talk about this question too.
So yeah, like I said, some students don't feel supported enough, especially first generation. As a first generation, I'm teaching myself how to kind of navigate through college. It is my second year, but the university is different than the community college. So I'm trying to figure out everything that happens with all of that. And it's not just me struggling. Sometimes I have to remember that it's a whole bunch of us. So while I do try to help as many people as I can, I really try to help the first generation college students a bit more because I know what it's like.
Wow. Thank you. And Christian, a quick follow-up for you. So in the transition, there's trying to figure out the classes and navigating the transition from community to university. There's also probably social emotional adjustments, the size difference. Can you comment on how are you addressing that aspect of the mental or emotional adjustment that first gen students need to make?
So yes, so I definitely, when I was at community college, it was all online and all virtual because it was all last year. And so here it's in person. A lot of the things are in person. So I've kind of been a bit wary to go outside of just my dorm room because of I don't want to catch COVID, or I'm just not used to the size of the room or whatnot. And so I kind of push myself out there a bit more. That's one reason why I kind of joined student government, was so I could get connected with other students and kind of push myself into an uncomfortable zone.
Good for you. Good for you. Okay, so we've heard from our three panelists about some of the issues that are facing their communities, and we know that these issues are prevalent across our entire country. As Christian mentioned, the continuing pandemic is having an impact on youth disconnecting from education and the workforce and it's having a significant impact on learning loss and social emotional learning. More than ever, young people have an important voice in today's society, yet they don't all face an equal opportunity for participation in civic engagement, and that's why we wanted to bring this topic up today. So beginning with you, Taija, how have you gotten involved in an issue that you care about?
Okay, so an issue that I am really strong about is the Black Lives Matter movement. So over the summer, there was a protest here in South Haven where we all met at a park at Elginberg Park, and we started there. We brought signs and we marched through town, just like a peaceful protest, just getting our voices heard and just letting them know that we deserve the respect that others are giving, and we demand it.
And what was the response that you got?
It was very peaceful. I didn't hear anything negative about it. It was a good turnout. Plenty of people showed up, Black, white, Mexican. It just wasn't, it was everything that I imagined it was gonna be and then some. So I was pretty excited about it.
Great. And so what's the feeling when you care about an issue? Describe what drives you.
What drives me is knowing that the younger generation wouldn't have to go through what I had to endure as being a Black male in the United States. It just gives me a sense of encouragement that my younger brother or younger sister wouldn't have to go through that pain. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me expand on that a little bit. Excuse me. Cairo, you're next. Can you talk to us about an issue that you're involved with? What led you to get involved with this issue, and what change do you hope to see?
An issue that I'm passionate about is the same thing as Sarja. I'm really passionate about the Black Lives Matter movement. I use social media as a way to inform people and to promote positive change. Definitely when the protests were happening, a lot of people didn't understand what the Black Lives Matter movement was or why it was even happening. So I use social media as a way to educate them and to help them learn on what it really was about and what they were trying to achieve. I think that was something that was really passionate. That was something that I was really passionate about, and things that I really wanted people to educate themselves on. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I think that that's wonderful. The use of social media is so prevalent in society, and it is a platform for your voice to be heard. Christian, over to you next. What activities do you feel are most impactful for youth to participate in order to make the changes they want to see?
I think one thing that youth can do while they are in school is student government. It's helpful for really anyone because you can kind of learn a lot about politics. You can learn about helping other students. You don't really even have to know that much about government. When you start, you can learn while you go. And it's not just like universities that have government or anything like that. Schools have them. They have class councils and things like that.
Great. Cairo, what about your community? What have you done, or what would you like to do to impact your fellow students?
Things that I have done is I have talked to some of my counselors about starting a GSA for the LGBTQ plus students in my school. A lot of them don't feel safe here, or they aren't comfortable with sharing who they are truly to the rest of the school. So I feel like starting a GSA with them is something that is really positive towards them, as it a safe place for them to be who they are. Also, the mental health, like the shooting that had happened in Detroit, the mental health of students is something that I really want to prioritize here at my school, because talking about it is something that should be talked about and not ignored. I definitely do see a lot of students struggle with mental health, especially since we just got out of a pandemic and people are still adjusting to coming to school and being around other people. And really taken a toll on their mental health, especially still now with COVID still going on and still us being under a pandemic, is something that that I really want to work on. Also spreading like kindness. I know a lot of people struggle with that, especially now. I really try to promote kindness to everyone. Like JMG, they did a kindness rock. So they write like a little message on a rock, and the student would pick it up. And I think that's something that's really good to just uplift someone throughout the day.
And that's a very easy thing to do, but the impact is big.
Yes.
Great. Taja, what about you? In your community, what have you done to positively impact fellow students?
So some things I've done, back in my freshman year, me and one of my friends had started a Be Kind movement where it was a trend at the time. I think we had seen it here in this class, I think, with the Post-it notes. And we just brought it to Hartford, where kids at lunchtime could grab a Post-it note from our table and write kind messages on it. And we would go around during passing time or something like that and post it on lockers. And I feel like that just builds confidence in other people, like knowing that like people are thinking of them and like knowing that kindness is out there. It's all a part of like who you become as a person. For JMG this year, we had made these little pins. Oh, I'm not sure if you can see them. I like the little pins. And didn't we pass these out? We passed these out and it was a good impact. It was a good, yeah, it was about suicide awareness, and we, I don't think we sold it. I don't think we sold it. We didn't sell them. We just gave them, we gave them to our school, and it was a good turnout and people loved them. So.
Wow. So many different issues that the three of you have just touched on, and very prevalent, especially Christian, you being a graduate of Oxford, and the impact that certainly has. Excuse me.
And with being in JMG, we did some blood drives. We've done 2 this year already, and we have another one back in March. We have saved around 280 lives with blood donations. So that's one thing about JMG is we're about kindness and getting things out there that other people don't see.
It's really an honor to be a part of this JMG program when I see the passion and enthusiasm. You guys have saved almost 300 lives through blood drives. You've brought awareness to issues of youth mental health and a need to provide a safe place for the LGBTQ community. You've helped educate people on what the Black Lives Matter movement is about. And you're involved in student government and helping first-gen students. That's quite a range, and really impressed by all three of you. It's absolutely fantastic to work with this organization. So if we look to the future, Jairo, how would you like to expand your use of social media? What else would you like to do to continue to make an impact?
To continue to make an impact with social media, I'd really like to get involved with a lot of different organizations that happen here in my state, like things about pollution, the pollution that's happening, how people dump their waste here in the world, how it affects the climate change. I really want to use social media as a way to educate people on how to properly do that, and also to use social media as a way to educate people on like why pride is pride and why it has continued to happen and why the reasoning for that. So I really wanted to continue to educate people on certain issues that mean a lot to me and to other people. I think using social media will be really beneficial to a lot of the things that I want to do in the future.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to start with Christian for this one. What one action can young people commit to taking in the coming year to get more engaged in their community or their state or their nation? Christian?
One action that youth can commit to is volunteering. You get to know your community through volunteering. You're also doing good work for your community. You can create connections and network while you're volunteering. You can gain great experiences while you're volunteering. And last week we actually had a COVID-19 booster clinic here at the university. And so to volunteer for that, it was great because I knew I was helping save people's lives and promoting the spread of the vaccine.
Fantastic. All right, Jairo, can you answer the same question, please? What's an action that young people can take in the coming year to get involved?
An action that the youth can take to change is being registered to vote. I know that's something that the youth has a big influence over, especially with the elections that happened last year, I believe. And I think people should really look into that, and also to talk to their leaders in their community or in their state, talking about issues that really matter to them and issues that they want to get fixed, or just things that they want to see change, is something that young people can do. It's certainly something that I have done, which is something that I'm really proud of. So I think that if the more youth that does that, the more change that we can have in our community and within our country.
The power in numbers. Taija, how about you? Can you answer the same question, please?
So I am newly registered to vote. So I'm looking into seeing what the candidates have to offer and seeing which one to pick. But some things our youth can do is like going to like town hall meetings, sitting in, listening, getting to know the issues and how to address them, and to figure out a solution on how to fix them. What was I about to say?
Okay. Yeah, start in your local community. Start with something you're passionate about, right? That's fantastic. All right, I promised earlier that we'd get to hear more about Jack from Jack. Would you please share some everyday opportunities that you participated in, and how did that lead to the work you do now and the change that you have influenced?
Yeah, and I might even just start and really put an exclamation point on how incredible the range of engagement you all are having in your communities is. It's really inspirational to listen to for somebody in my perspective. It's really cool. And I think, one thing that just strikes me that connects to this question of what are everyday activities you can participate in is the range of examples that you all provided, from participating in protests that are getting at big structural inequity, which is a complicated, big thing to tackle, to like small things in your immediate community, giving Post-it notes out, being kind. And each of those are examples of being involved in our community in really important ways, and in ways that push change. And I just think as sometimes as we think about civic engagement, it can feel like an insurmountable, or think about changing our community or making it better, it can feel like a big and insurmountable thing. And the truth is, it's small actions by a lot of us that do change things. And that sounds a little trite maybe, but in my experience, it's really what I've seen happen so far. So anyway, a little bit of editorializing there off the script and off the question, but I'm just really inspired by listening to our panelists today. So I think the first thing that comes to my mind in terms of an everyday opportunity, when I was in college, volunteered for a state house campaign, and the thing they needed most done was going and knocking on doors and talking to people about voting in the election and about the candidate. And I was new to political campaigns, had never been involved in one, and I had this image of what they were from TV, that they were, debates like big television commercials and all of that. And I learned through that experience that really what fuels a lot of them is people who are volunteering time to talk to their neighbors and talk to their community members about why the election is important and why you know, whichever candidate is important. And that experience really led me down a pathway of having a career in that work, because I learned that it was something that any one of us could access. It's not something reserved for the smartest or the hardest working or the you know, the people who are the best political strategists. It really is a space that is in desperate need of people who care and who care about their communities to show up and participate. And I learned that by going and knocking doors and realizing that through those conversations could have an impact on whom we are electing, and those are people who are making decisions about our lives and a lot of the issues we're talking about here. So yeah, so that I think is the example that comes to mind. You know, interested, Christian, as you're studying political science, are you learning ways that allow individuals to engage in the political process?
Yes, so I'm learning what government is, how it can be successful, and really how to run it in a beneficial way. I gain more experience with my political science studies, and I get to actually put that in action through student government.
Is there anything that's surprised you about, as you've been involved in student government, anything that's surprised you about that experience?
Not really. I just kind of, this student government, it's a bit different than others I have been on. It's a lot more hands-on. So I'm definitely juggling a lot more than I ever really have had to do. So I'm learning kind of time management right now.
Definitely. If you figure that out, let me know. Taja, you're a newly registered voter. How important is it that the youth vote in any election?
So with my youth, it's very important. As you know, my youth has no problem with speaking their mind and coming forward on issues that they stand strongly and believe in. So I think with us being registered to vote now and being able to get our voices heard, and they're actually being put into count, I feel like it'll be very important on the next upcoming elections and seeing what happens in the world.
One of the campaigns that, so Molly mentioned that I work at the Impact Project. We work across a lot of different states on economic and democracy issues. And one of the campaigns that we're working on in New Mexico is to allow 16-year-olds the ability to vote in local elections, local and state elections there. What do you think about that idea of allowing younger people to vote in our elections?
I feel like it's good to get them engaged in their community and to let them know that their opinion matters. But there are some upsides and some downsides that some people just aren't mature enough to have like a good wide range of what it could be. So I mean, I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and you just have to see how it goes.
Yeah. Christian, if voting is one step towards contributing to change, what are additional steps that young people can take to affect change?
So one step that people can take even before they vote is doing research on the candidates and what they believe in. You want to make sure that you're not just voting for anyone, but someone you really think has your best interest and someone who has the best interest of your community.
How Hyro, what do you think?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, no problem. Just you actually have touched on this, I think, a little bit. Not to. I'll let you speak, and I think you've touched on this a little bit. But if voting is one step towards contributing to change, what are additional steps that young people can take?
I think additional steps that young people can take is really just like Christian said, educating themselves and just really seeing their background and what they really stand for is something that's really important. I think them understanding who the person is and what they've done to contribute to the things that they say. I think that the actions of the people that they want to vote for really speak louder than the words that they say. Being able to educate yourself on someone that you think that will change the world or change your community is something that is really important. I think that the youth should really be able to do that. Just educating yourself on the people that you want to vote for is just something that's really important, something that people should really push towards, not just believe everything that happens on the news or just because someone says it. I think being able to do your research on the people that you really want to be leaders is something that's important. I know that's something that I have been really passionate about and something that I really want to look into. So I think that that's really important.
Taija, what about you? Other steps to contribute towards change?
We practiced this question, and I've stumbled so many times on it.
There's no wrong answer.
What our youth can do to change, vote.
Yeah.
Get their voices heard, protest, go to town hall meetings. There's a lot of things like Hyro does. He's on social media. He's getting his voice heard by showing people how to understand world problems and helping them get their opinions out there. So I think there's a lot of things you can do to
Have any of the three of you ever written a letter or email or tweeted at or called somebody in elected office who represents you about an issue?
I have not yet.
Christian, do you get emails or communication from people you represent ever about issues?
So the people I represent, meaning students.
Yeah.
So one way for me that I think is more effective is actually going out with students and asking them directly than rather getting an email or signing a Google form, because you can hear directly from them. And so I do a lot of that.
See, I'm hearing go ahead,
Go ahead.
Jeff.
No, you go for it.
I'm hearing a theme, which is the importance of communication, face-to-face, via the phone, is something that isn't more personal, something that is a direct connection. And I know I mentioned social and emotional stuff earlier in the conversation. I think that is critical to increasing an understanding of the issues our country is facing and how collaboratively we are going to need to solve them. I love what you said, Christian, about it's much better to talk to a person than do a Google form. A Google form is static and inanimate, and conversation is dynamic. That is a huge takeaway that I'm seeing. And Jack, your question is very interesting. Next month, a lot of folks will be headed to Lansing to sit down with their legislators. And so, Hyro and Taija, I don't know if you guys are going to legislative day. Hopefully you are. If you are, what are you preparing for? And if you are not, if you were sitting with a legislative member, what would you want them to know about you and about JMG?
No, you go first.
I talked to Ms. Broderick about it. I talked to her about talking to my legislators. An issue that I really want to talk about is really the homeless population and the addiction population that people struggle with. I feel like we don't have enough of that here in Michigan, that we don't have enough of people that like services to help people, especially with the pandemic. I know like a lot of people struggled, and so a lot of people turned to drugs or it affected them like stably, like they lost their homes and they just couldn't get back on their feet. I think that's something that I really want to talk to them about. And also talking about the youth population, especially now that they struggle a lot with a lot of mental health, is something that I really do want to talk to them about. I think that I think they're doing a great job, but I think that they can do better, in my opinion. It's something that I really want to talk to them about. I feel like they do touch on a lot of issues that are important to them, but I feel like hearing the outside voice from from my perspective is something that should be heard, and hopefully that they can take into consideration.
Fantastic. Kaija, did you want to add anything?
Frank said it basically, he said it all. There are a wide range of things that we could talk to our legislator about and to get answers on and to even solve a few problems. Like people not understanding one another, people judging a book by its cover. I mean, we've all heard the saying before. The lack of internet. It's a lot.
And Christian, you actually participated in Legislative Day in 2019. Can you share with the audience your experience?
So I really enjoyed the Legislative Day in 2019. It was in person. It was very snowy that day. We actually couldn't stay the whole day, but we still met with our legislator, and overall it was a great experience because I could speak with them directly instead of just sending an email or calling them. So that was great.
Good. Yeah, we've had a couple snowy legislative days. Hopefully March 8th and 9th will not be a snowy legislative days. But as a staff member, it's a highlight because about 150 to 200 young people from around the state have this opportunity to sit and meet with their elected officials. I can tell you from the elected officials' point of view, they have said over and over that it's one of their favorite meetings because it's not often that they get to hear from newly registered voters or soon to be registered voters, young people in college, the up and coming future of Michigan and of our country. So it's great. We encourage all of our youth to be participative those days, but even beyond, obviously. So one thing I wanted to touch on is a lot of youth are shy. They want to make a difference, but it's anxiety filled. What's a small step that a youth could take who wants to get involved, but just isn't quite confident and is a little too shy to get started? Let's start with Kaija.
You could do a petition. I mean, that's always a way to get people's voices heard that doesn't want to be in the front line of things. They just want their opinion out there. They don't want to be in the direct fire of things. They're a little too shy to be there at the moment. So I think a petition would be a good start.
Excellent. Hyro?
To piggyback off what Taija said, like starting a petition or even being a part of a petition, also like talking to, I guess, friends and close friends, talking about things that really do matter to them is something for kids that are shy or just have a lot of anxiety. I think that talking to at least a parent or a friend, talking about the things that really do matter to them, and like signing a petition or emailing or just talking to a leader in their community or to a teacher is something that they can do to help with that, so they're not directly in that front line and being the bigger picture that everyone sees. So just taking those small little steps is bigger.
Okay. Christian, what would you like to add?
Like Hyro was saying earlier with social media, I think using social media to spread kind of beliefs and ideas to kind of help people understand or educate people. That's very important, at least for me, because while I don't have a lot of followers, there are some who I feel they might need to see some of that information, even if they don't necessarily believe in it. It's at least good to be out there, and you can do it all from the comfort of your home, basically anywhere in the world.
Absolutely. Those are all great ways to get involved and at the comfort level that you have. That's fantastic. This entire conversation is so impressive. Your passion, your dedication. Some youth really are not interested in these areas. What advice would you have, or how would you inspire someone to help them see the value in using their voice to make change? I'll start with Christian.
So one way is find a topic that they care about, or a common topic, so that they care about and you also care about, and you can kind of promote that topic together and use your voice that way.
Great. And it definitely sounds like there is a lot of issues and a lot of positive momentum that the three of you have towards making change. For Jairo and Taija, what are some of the things you hear from your peers, both positive and negative, about the ability to make a difference?
So many people think that their voices don't matter because of their age, and because they don't like, their name isn't big enough, or they're not like people aren't looking at them to make a difference. And it's really not the case. I feel like at any age you can make a difference just by a post on social media, a video, tagging, emailing, stuff like that. Everything has a potential to make a difference in some way. You just have to put it out there.
Jairo, anything you want to add?
To pick up what Ty just said, a lot of my peers do feel the same way. Like a lot of them who are like outcasts, I guess, they feel like their voices aren't heard as much. And I try to represent them a lot. I try to talk to a lot of the people that aren't like popular, or they don't have a lot of friends or things like that. I try to voice their opinions through me. Is really something that is really important. I talk to a lot of my peers about issues that really matter to them and how they want to see their school change. And so I do talk to a lot of my my peers about that, on like what they want to see change, because I know that they feel uncomfortable, or they don't have the time to have their voice heard because they have a lot of other things, or usually they don't feel like their name is big enough, like Taija said. So I really want to be the voice for them, or to at least try to help them through it. I feel like a lot of youth feel like they're not able to share their voice because their opinion might not matter to someone else, or they might not see the way they feel like they want to be a trend. You know what I mean? Like their opinion isn't on trend, so they feel like they can't speak it out loud.
Okay.
So I really try to
They're too
shine
afraid of the backlash that some people get from being in like a movement, and that's what Howard was saying, basically.
Absolutely. That is one of the components that is a sad reality, is the backlash. But the way you guys continue to talk about the willingness and interest in coming together and collectively working to affect change and respecting different opinions. It's, there's a famous Yogi Berra saying, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. And you guys are all about collecting opinions and using it as a conversation point to foster more education and awareness. And I think that's really what the intent is. So with that spirit, let's look 10 years down the road. And Christian, I'm going to start with you, but I want each panelist to answer. And Jack, I actually want you to answer this one too. So think 10 years ahead. What do you want our world to look like? And what do we need to do to get there? So what do we want our world to look like? And what do we need to do to get there? Christian?
So what I would want our world to look like is What I would want, I think, would never really happen, unfortunately. Where we all would just, kind of get along together and be all happy. But that's not reality, sadly. So I think I honestly think it's kind of going to be the same as it is now, because while we are working together to promote changes, some things just take time, and yeah.
All right. And hopefully the changes that are taking time maybe are closer than they certainly were a few years ago.
Yes.
Pyro, 10 years down the road, what does the world look like?
10 years down the road, I want the world to look like people being able to express who they are freely, and for them to be able to voice their opinion and to have a good mental health. So by doing so, I really want to push the mental healthness to the younger generation that is coming before me. So I think that's really something that I really want to push towards. I really want the world to look like Christian said, sunshines and rainbows, and just have everyone get along. But that's sadly not reality. So I think just by participating in a lot of things that really do matter to a lot of kids, is really something that I want to push towards them, to have their voices heard. I really want a lot of things to end, but sadly they can't. So pushing towards those organizations and pushing towards social media is something that I really want to keep doing, and I will proceed to do. I feel like down the road, from 10 years from now, I want to keep pushing and educating positive change. So I really do want the world to be better, but it can't be.
Yeah. All right. Aija, you're up.
Okay, so 10 years from now, what do I see the world being? I see the world being inclusive, being in touch with our inner selves, and like I said earlier, the youth today is not afraid to speak up and voice their opinions as much. I mean, you see it all over social media. Lower population, pollution, not population. I mean, we need more of it. I feel like it's capable. Like we could do it. Because I mean, it's all about progression. Nobody's trying to go back. We're just trying to evolve and be better than what we grew up in.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's possible. Just gotta put the first foot out there and try it.
Persistence and perseverance is a message that I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack, it's 10 years down the road. What does the world look like?
I hope we're out of this pandemic. That's probably the first thing that comes to mind, and able to spend more time with each other in person. I think, the three things that drive me in this work, that I hope would be accomplished in the next 10 years. I fear sometimes that our system of government is trending more and more away from representing the broad range of voices in our country. And so I would hope in 10 years we've stopped that trend and moved more and more towards a democracy that represents everybody and makes it easy to participate. I think there are some barriers to participate sometimes that make it a little bit harder. So I hope it's easier for everybody to participate in our government. I think there's barriers in our economy that mean not everybody has the same chance. Two people could both work hard, and because of where they started from, they've got different opportunities, and I don't think that's right. So I hope we've removed some of those barriers and have an economy that anybody who shows up and works hard can prosper in. I could go into more detail on a lot of that stuff, but these are like the high level things 10 years from now. And then the third one is, I think we're at a moment with our changing climate that over the next 10 years, it's going to be really the kind of make or break moment for whether or not we're able to start moving in a direction of fewer carbon emissions and a healthier planet. So those are the three things I really care about, and I hope 10 years from now we've done. And I don't know if we can, but I would just say, real quickly on this too, of like some of the comments of, I don't know if we can ever get there. I just, having been in this work now for about 15 years, there are times where it feels like you've fought really hard for a long time and nothing's changed. And then there are moments where there are big breakthroughs, and just would really encourage everybody here to keep showing up and keep doing this, even when it's hard and feels like nothing's changing, because the arc of time, generally, I think when people show up, you can change things. So.
That's a fantastic message, and I'm so glad you shared it. Yes, when people show up, get up and show up, right? Okay, before we lead into the concluding comments, I wanted to give each panelist an opportunity. Is there anything else you want to share about the ability and the need for youth to get involved that you haven't had a chance yet to share? So Christian, why don't I start with you?
So like I said earlier, it's always good for youth to get involved in student government, or even have a minor or a major in political science when you start college, and always like do your research on the candidates who you're electing for your community, so that they can best represent yourself.
Excellent, thank you. Pyro, how about from your perspective? Anything else you want us to know?
Like Jack said, talking about the climate change issue is something that you should really get involved in. The world is going to be ours at one point, and we're going to be the leaders of it. So I think fixing it now is something that is really important. I definitely do want to volunteer at places where we can clean up anything, or just like a lake or anything. It's something that you should really get involved in. I know that I do really want to get involved in, since climate change is a real thing and we are going to see it in the upcoming years. So I think that being able to do that is something that we should really talk about, and something that we should put action towards. So I think that's something that you should really start to get involved in. And I think that I want to start something here at school that can promote that.
Fantastic. Taija, bring it home.
Okay. I had something in my head, I lost it, so we're gonna just go with the next best thing. Get involved, protest, petition, be yourself, and to do what you believe in, and say what you want, and vote for who you want to vote for, and do it all one step at a time. And we'll be getting to see a change in the world one day at a time. We can't rush it, so just got to be patient with it.
Absolutely. All three of you are amazing. There was a comment made that I think sums it up. Such an amazing, in all capitals, group of young people. Keep shining your light. You will change the world. And I think that's the best way to thank our very talented, eloquent, thoughtful, impressive panelists. This has been a fantastic hour for me, and I know for our audience. You really represent the best of JMG and why it is an honor to work on this program. Jack, you are a fantastic co-moderator. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your experiences, and for giving us that boost that we needed. When the dark days are here, we know that there will be another day. And it's great to see that someone who's been in this area is definitely looking back, seeing that the change is happening. And I think that's important as we move forward. Yes, we agree, we're all ready to be completely past COVID. A couple last comments to the audience. Youth Solutions is eager to partner with employers, organizations, post-secondary, everyone who can give our youth opportunities like this one for them to share their voice and to explore career paths. We have a budding real estate agent We have a travel nurse. We have up and coming potential political science, maybe elected representative someday, who knows? But the future is our youth. And if you'd like to get involved, our website is a great place to start. We also want to thank our sponsors, Lions Industries, West Rock, the Michigan College Access Network, DCI Marketing, Vail Rubber Works, Operating Engineers 324. All of these people provide support for us to continue to inspire and connect youth to achieve a future beyond imagination. Thank you to our audience. Thank you for your time, your energy, your interest, and your questions. And we do hope you'll join us in May. Thank you, Jocelyn, JMG Specialist Extraordinaire. A panel of JMG youth in May will discuss challenges they faced during the school year and the importance of social emotional learning. So Jairo, I really hope you can join us maybe and join us to listen in on that one, knowing that that issue is so high of mind for you. I look forward to seeing everyone at the next Coffee with a Purpose. But my last comment is thank you. Thank you to the panelists. Please keep having your voices heard and fostering a collaborative dialogue, because that's how we will make change. And Jack, thank you for helping us out today. And what you said is so true. Change will happen, and it's going to take all of us working together and increase in understanding and awareness. The more we care about each other, the more we can understand all sides of the issues and come to the best answers. Thanks, everybody. Refill your coffee and have a great day. Bye.